Trench warfare in World War I. So, why was trench warfare so important? This is a cross-section of frontline trenches. This is a close part of the trench to the enemies. You can see all the cubbies and sandbags that soldiers would use to hide, sleep, read, and eat while on guard. This flat, empty landscape is called no man's land and is the reason for such trenches construction. Weapons of the time like machine guns were able to quickly kill oncoming soldiers without covering, leading to heavy use of the defensive structures. Explosives were also used at the time, which were capable of killing a concentrated group of enemies. The cubbies built into the ground were also used to shield soldiers from shock waves that can burst their intestines, leading to massive casualties. In the top right, you can also see the multiple levels of trenches and how they were curved to stop enemies from having a straight row of targets if they invade a trench. In the wake of the Battle of the Marne, during which Allied troops halted the steady German push through Belgium and France that had proceeded over the first month of World War I, a conflict both sides had expected to be short and decisive turns longer and bloodier as the Allied and German forces began digging their first trenches on the Western Front of September 15, 1914. Trench warfare was a large contributing factor to the stalemate of the Western Front, as well as during the Allies' Gallipoli campaign. As trenches were defended by machine gun emplacements and supported by artillery, troops charging through no man's land were usually mowed down by machine gun fire, as well as being stopped by obstacles like barbed wire. Soldiers were often stuck in their position, barely gaining even mere meters of land over long periods of time. To keep pace within the demands of the war and help sustain morale, the British Army often rotated soldiers around the trenches, so the bulk of a soldier's time was divided between a range of specialist areas behind the front line. The brutality of trench warfare is perhaps best shown by the 1916 Battle of the Somme. British troops suffered 60,000 casualties on the first day of fighting alone. Even with the death count well into the millions, nearly 9 out of every 10 soldiers in the British Army who went into the trenches survived. Soldiers didn't just have to worry about immediate deaths. They also had to consider some more significant problems such as cold water within the confines of the trenches, dead and wounded bodies of soldiers as well as dead horses, the control of waste including food and human feces, and stress both physically and mentally. Soldiers lived in close proximity without adequate water for maintaining cleanliness. To end the war, a series of peace treaties were signed, the most memorable one being the Treaty of Versailles of June 1919, endeavored to secure and build a global peace, laying the basis for new international institutions such as the League of Nations. Its role was to prevent future wars through conflict resolution and diplomacy. But the treaty also required a demilitarization of Germany, demanding that Germany acknowledge its responsibility for causing the war and inflicted severe war reparations on this country. Trench warfare is still used in today's modern era. This image from 2017 shows trenches used by people in the war on Donbass. Trenches are almost identical to that of almost a century ago, but use with higher tech weaponry and defense systems. This can lead to wars with much higher death rates and length. And that is it for our video.